Hey there, CoolFront users. Today, we'll be going over how to connect your CoolFront mobile account to a Google Calendar. Connecting to Google Calendar is a great way to see all of your appointments on a calendar view to help you dispatch your service calls. Let's take a look at getting started. One of the first steps is making sure that you're already logged into your CoolFront admin account. Next, you'll need to verify that the Gmail account that you'd like to connect to is already in existence. If you don't already have a Gmail account that you would like to connect the appointments to, it's easy to get started. Through google.com in the upper right-hand corner, if you select Sign In, and then choose More Options, you can create an account. Gmail accounts are free to create and to use. Once you have an account set up, you can log in, and this is the account here that I would like to connect my appointments to. Simply through google.com, selecting the Google Apps option, and then choosing the calendar will bring me to my existing calendar options. One of the first things that I'll point out is on the left-hand side, we have what's considered My Calendars. Here's my name here. And my employees for my account are not listed currently underneath My Calendars. And we'll see in just a moment, once we connect the integration to CoolFront Mobile, CoolFront will create what is called sub-calendars for each individual employee and will appear on this primary calendar that I have. So let's go back into CoolFront Mobile, underneath the add-ons page, and then clicking on Google Calendar. We'll select Connect to Google Calendar, and I'll connect to that primary account that I'd like to put my appointments on. This is asking if it would allow CoolFront to manage your calendar events, and we want to allow that. And now it's going to go through one by one for each one of my users to ask if it wants to create those sub-calendars. Now, sub-calendars only need to be created for those employees that are actually going to be assigned service calls. So you can skip any office user that won't be assigned service calls, but that office user will still be able to see the appointments by logging into the Google Calendar. So for my technician here for Alan, I'm going to create a new sub-calendar for him and click on Continue. For Amy, she's one of my office staff. She is not going to get assigned any work. She's not going to do any service calls, so I'm going to skip that user. Art is one of my service professionals, so I'll click on Continue to create a sub-calendar for him. This is myself, so if I'm the owner of the business, and on occasion I'll run service calls as well, so I'm going to create a new sub-calendar for myself. Jack, he's another service tech, so I'll continue for him. And Mike as well. Great, so now I've connected to Google Calendar. The very next time that I create a new work order inside of CoolFront, it's going to automatically show up on my Google Calendar. Let's take a look to see how it's going to look. So we'll go in here real quick and create a new customer. And then as soon as I save this job, if it's a no heat call, I can assign it for today's date. 11 a.m. is good. We'll assign it to my technician, Alan. And as soon as I click on save, it's not only going to create the CoolFront work order here, but as I log back into my Google account and I refresh the page, there's going to be a number of things that you're going to see happen. First of all, we should see that appointment show up, and then also the additional sub-calendars that we created. And voila, there it is. So now I have sub-accounts or sub-calendars for each one of my employees that I connected to. And that brand new example work order that we created for Paul Brown shows up automatically on my Google Calendar. Let's take a look at some of the details. So you do notice that the customer's name and phone number is listed as the event title. So if we click on it here, Paul Brown phone number, his address is already populated inside the Google Calendar event, and then the reason for the phone call shows up in the details. It defaults this appointment to a 1 hour job. So if you did want to block off more time, you can either edit the event itself and change the amount of time that's listed here, or also some of the features of Google Calendar, you can click and drag the bottom of this appointment to block off more time. So now the default from 1 hour, I've just extended it to block off 2 hours worth of time. Now you may connect to Google Calendar and already have some appointments that have already been created. So this is now set up for any new jobs going forward will automatically start showing up. But what I just mentioned is, what if it's the case where the existing work orders had already been created? Well, you'll see when I go to these older work orders, there's a sync button at the top of the screen. All you need to do is simply click on the sync button. And I'm going to do this for a couple of the work orders that already existed, so you can see the different employees' accounts here. And we'll see what this looks like once it's on my calendar. So these are work orders that are assigned for today's date. I'm going to sync some other work orders for the rest of the week. Just so you get an idea of what it's going to look like when you have a series of different events that are on the calendar. So you can see that some of them, they have started to come over here. And you'll also notice that the color-coded option between the user, so for instance, my technician Jack is red on the calendar, Art is in green, Alan is in orange, and myself, I'm in blue. And that is associated with the assigned work order users inside of CoolFront. So let's also take a look to see if we had the example of Paul Brown that we had created here. And say he needed to call and reschedule his appointment. Something came up and we needed to move the allotted scheduled time. I can either click and drag on the appointment to a different time later in the day, or even I can drag it to a different day at a different time as well. So if I change this, it was originally created for 11 a.m. today. If I switch it to, let's say 2 p.m. tomorrow and drop it, when I go back into CoolFront, if I refresh my page here, we're going to see that Paul appointment we can now see that the Paul appointment has now been rescheduled inside of CoolFront, 2 o'clock for tomorrow's date. Also inside of the Google Calendar option, you can take a look at the week view. We can take a look at the day view. We can take a look at the month view. So this will help you schedule out appointments in advance for a dispatcher that's trying to assign work. There's no additional cost to connect to the Google Calendar integration. All you would need to do is simply give us a phone call or send us an email and let us know you'd like to activate it to your account. I thank you for joining us for today's demonstration, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.